Hi, I'm Kelly Sullivan. I'm the granddaughter of Al Sullivan, the youngest of the 5 Sullivan brothers, and we're here today in the Sullivan Memorial Room on board the Navy's finest warship, USS The Sullivans DD-537. Welcome to this great place, and I hope you enjoy the memorial room. You know, one of the things that I love on the ship is these letters. My great-grandma, Alita Sullivan, was the sponsor of the ship. She christened the ship. And, you know, one of the things that she did a great job of was staying connected to the crew, because she had really adored the sailors of the ship. And that's something that I've tried to be as a sponsor of the second ship named after the boys. But one of my favorite memories coming to visit the Sullivans was with my daughter Kelsey. And we sat, and I said, these are letters that your great-great-grandma wrote. And we read them, and they brought tears to my eyes. So in a lot of the letters that she would write, she would say, "Dear boys," you know, because she couldn't write to her own boys anymore, but she called the sailors her boys. And then she always signed them, "Love, Mom." And I know one thing about my great-grandma, I know that she loved to write letters, and her letters were very personal. So I think it's fantastic that the Naval Park has these letters, and that we're able to remember who she was through these letters, because she had a heart that was really dedicated to patriotism and to supporting our country. After the 5 boys died, she continued on with the war effort by selling war bonds with my great-grandpa. So I think that's a lot of the reason why the Sullivan legacy is still talked about today, is because of the way the family persevered after the boys died. So what's neat is my grandma was a role model for me, because I'm the sponsor of the second ship, USS The Sullivans DDG-68, and I have correspondence with my sailors too, or my boys, like she called them, boys and girls. And so I have a lot of the emails that I've sent to them, and they have emails that they get from me. But it's really important for a crew to know that they are supported and cared for. And every ship has a sponsor, but each sponsor interacts with the crew in a different way. So a lot of times a woman will christen a ship, because the Navy has a woman christen a ship. That's the tradition of the Navy. And they christen it and commission it, and then they don't stay connected. But my great-grandma would go and visit the ship. So when they would go to port visits, she would go visit them in San Francisco or wherever they were. And I just loved the fact that those sailors knew how much she cared about them. You know, she kind of was living the lives of the 5 boys through her sailors. And I think I do that with my sailors too. You know, my sailors mean the world to me, and they know that I pray for them all the time, and that they're always in my heart. And that's how my great-grandma did it too. She always had the boys in her heart, and all the sailors. And she would also invite them to Waterloo to come and stay and have food and all that kind of stuff. And now I get to do that too. I get to invite sailors to come to my home in Waterloo and enjoy our hospitality. So she was really someone that I looked up to. I wish I could have known her, but by reading these letters, I feel like I do know her. Some of my favorite stories about the 5 boys was that they loved to go dancing. So we have a place in Waterloo, and it's still there, and it's called the Electric Park Ballroom. And the boys loved to go there and go dancing and flirt with the girls. So that was one of their pastimes. They also did a lot of fishing, because in Waterloo, Iowa, we have the Cedar River, so the boys loved to go fishing. They were avid fishermen. And another thing, too, is they liked to ride motorcycles. So both George and Joe Sullivan had Harley-Davidsons and an Indian motorcycle, and they were in the Black Hawk Motorcycle Club, so they did motorcycle racing. And that was a fun thing that they did. They were also boxers. They liked to box in their free time. So on the USS Juneau, they had a boxing team, and some of the brothers were actually on the boxing team on the USS Juneau. So this is a super amazing picture. This is a picture of the Juneau at the bottom of the ocean. And I'll never forget the day that this ship was found. I was actually on the Sullivans. I was on USS The Sullivans DDG-68 for a retirement ceremony for Captain Tillotson, who had been a captain of the ship. And I was on the fantail of the ship in Jacksonville, Florida, main port. It was a beautiful, beautiful day, and it was so warm. And it was St. Patrick's Day. So St. Patrick's Day on the Sullivans, what a great place to be. And I'm such a proud sponsor of that amazing ship. But I remember that day and how I just felt something. It was just, I don't know how to explain it, but I always have a lot of emotions when I go aboard the ship anyway, but there was something bigger that day on St. Patrick's Day. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but I knew that there was something going on. And then I flew out the next day, and I was at the airport in Chicago when my captain called and said, "Did you hear that they found the Juneau on St. Patrick's Day?" So then I was like, oh, that's exactly what I was feeling that day. So, you know, and then I hadn't watched the video yet. Everyone was calling me, a lot of news people were calling me saying, did you hear they found the Juneau? And I really didn't know how to feel about it. It was kind of a bittersweet feeling. You know, a lot of people say, well, do you feel closure? It's not necessarily a closure, it's more, I don't know, it's a real melancholy feeling. But I had school the next day, so I teach 3rd grade, and I went to my classroom, and all the kids had heard about it because it was on the news. They're like, Miss Sullivan, did you find out? Miss Sullivan, did you know they found the Juneau? Can you believe they found the ship? They found your grandpa's grave. And we turned the computer on, I turned the computer on, and we watched it on the big screen in my classroom together with my 3rd graders. And I'll never forget, because this little boy, Will, called out, oh my gosh, there's the J, there's the U. And so just watching it, and watching it through the eyes of an 8-year-old, but I just sat there and I cried, you know, and the kids had tears in their eyes. So it was a really emotional experience that I'll never forget, and I feel really blessed I had the opportunity to share it with my 3rd graders. But it was definitely chilling. I still watch the video, and I listen to the folks that found them from RV Petrol, and when they're saying, yep, that's the Juneau, and on St. Patrick's Day, you know, I know that the 5 boys were looking down and helping them find that discovery on St. Patrick's Day. So we are super excited to have 3 amazing flags here on USS The Sullivans DD-537. The first flag is the flag of Iowa, the state flag of Iowa, and the reason why we have that is because the 5 Sullivan brothers were from Waterloo, Iowa. So this ship has a deep connection to the state of Iowa and the city of Waterloo. The other flag we have is the Shamrock flag, and that flag is special because the 5 Sullivan brothers were Irish. The Sullivans were a good Irish Catholic family. It's also the only ship in the Navy that has the Shamrock painted on it, so that has something painted on it. The other flag, which is my favorite flag, is the 5 Gold Star flag, and that flag is very significant to this ship because my great-grandmother was a Gold Star mother. I've talked to many people over the years who can remember walking by their house on 98 Adams Street and seeing the big flag in the window. And that flag is on display in Waterloo at the Sullivan Brothers Iowa Veterans Museum. So it's super great that we have this flag here in Buffalo at the Naval Park, flying here proudly, because it represents not just the sacrifice of the 5 boys, but of all veterans who have served our country. And the flag also flies on the active duty ship, USS The Sullivans DDG-68 that I sponsored. And I can still remember the day about 15 years ago that my supply officer on the ship, Lieutenant Mark Garriga, said, Kelly, I have a surprise for you. And then he showed me the Gold Star flag. So we have 2 Navy ships, the most amazing ships in the Navy, and both ships proudly fly the Gold Star flag.
Hi everyone, I'm Shane Stevenson, Curator and Director of Museum Collections here at the Buffalo Naval Park. And whenever we have Kelly Sullivan here on board, she's a dignitary like no other. She is so supportive of DD-537, and she's obviously the sponsor of her own ship, USS The Sullivans DDG-68. So we hope you enjoyed this video. Kelly comes into town about once every year and a half, and your outpouring of support through this whole time has been instrumental, and we're going to keep her afloat for another 150, 200 years. We'd like to thank Kelly Sullivan for coming to visit us, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Thank you very much.